Good afternoon, everyone. I wondered if we were in this mix. I've never been at the end almost before, but great to be here. We're happy to be part of the community. Just for those of you who may not really know where OST South Union is. I didn't understand that. I wasn't talking to you. My phone wants to talk. OST South Union is in the south central end, I believe, southeast part of Houston. It's a swatch, and it's bounded by OST on the north. On the south, it's 610 East. On the east side is McCowell Boulevard, and on the west, it's 288. So it's a swatch. And there are about 22,000 residents in this area. I didn't put our slide up here for our priorities. I'm so used to seeing it that I didn't think to put it up here, but our 5 priorities are air, water, and soil, look, feel, and safety, housing, education, and equitable opportunities. So you can follow us on Dream 77021 on Instagram. Okay, next slide, please. So our highlights and successes are, for us, we've jumped with both feet, all feet and hands into the advocacy area. And the 2 that are most exciting are the ones showing right up here to the left is the picture of youth and one of our resident leaders who's on this call, Talitha Wooten, who has been working with children, young people, children, middle schoolers who live in one of our high-risk neighborhoods, one of our very high-risk communities here in Houston. So she started this session in May, and the idea was, to talk to them get them a chance to talk about their experience and what they feel. Well, safety jumped out so quickly, and they were so strongly emphasizing the safety issues that they feel in this complex. They see adults fighting every evening. And they're afraid and fear for their own selves. They're not fighting each other. They see adults fighting. So when she heard this level of anxiety and fear, she decided to take it to the next level and to give them some options to think about somebody hearing about it. So she had them write letters. She's had them write letters, and they have just really engaged in that, writing letters to the management of the housing complex to ask for more security, writing letters to other community entities, because they got very interested in this, about things that they think about and they wonder about. And we're going to be interested in following up and seeing what kind of responses they get. That's ongoing, and it will be ongoing because clearly the young people need to be in this process. The next steps on that, we plan to just give them more skills to be able to understand advocacy. On the right side, you will see the picture of the youth, young people that are involved in our overall advocacy training, leadership training with Can Do, that we've been involved in this spring. And these are there's a full house of about 20 people that come every time. And they're coming on Saturday mornings for 3 hours. So they have been faithfully attending and participating. And we have arrived at a consensus that community safety is the priority. The energy of the young people has been amazing. I didn't myself know what to expect with their engagement in this whole process, but they have just really been very involved and are getting more engaged every time. So at the end of the session this past week, people applauded. Now, who does that after you're sitting in a session for 3 hours on a Saturday morning? But that's how much they're really getting out of this. And so that is giving us a very important board to launch for our next activities, which is moving forward on what we identify as the key priorities that we can do something about. There's other things here that we've done. I want to say about the speed cushion advocacy effort. Our resident leaders have just been on the phone with our District D office and their Mr. Green talking about speed cushions, which you may formerly have known as speed bumps. But believe it or not, that's a big issue, and it's hard to get them, and it's even harder to get the decision on which streets will get them. So they've been in that. We participated in helping to support the Party in the Park. We also did a OST South Union Celebrate to introduce the collaborative members. We also launched our social media and communications last year. We did do a first newsletter. So what has sustained us? The demonstrated commitment of our resident leaders to sustain participation has really been fabulous. Okay, next slide. Next slide, thank you. Challenges or lessons to be learned. So for year 3, it's for year 4, I've heard people talk about meetings, but what we found was that versus once a month, engaging our residents in some type of meeting, mainly planning every week, really helped to for them to bond and to become cohesive and to develop a feeling that this is theirs and they're driving it. So we say more meetings are better than fewer. All right, at this point, that doesn't mean it'll be forever, but right now that has worked to get us to where we are with this resident group that we have of leaders. Being at the ready with clear communication about what to expect with stipends. We use stipends to jumpstart, to get involvement, and that's been over a period of time now. And we were thinking it was time to shift to more stipending for work and products that are developed. And we had to work with that. So it's just something to be aware of, that you have to think. You have to think about that and figure that out. That doesn't necessarily happen that smoothly. But what you end up with really is the people who really do want to work when you change it over. And that was one of our lessons. This one, all of the surveys and assessments, we need that. The data is important. But what the residents talk about every day amongst themselves and in everyday language and common conversation, that's really what the issues are. And community safety is it. We've got a lot of pieces of community safety. Our current collaborative structure is lacking organizational support. We have a great residence base. We definitely need more organization and partner involved with us to help build out where we'll be going next with planning our actual strategies. Next slide, please. Our areas for growth, of course, are expansion, what I just talked about, increasing the organizations involved that we're involved with. They don't have to be involved with us. We can be involved with them if they align with the priority that we're working on. We need to increase our resident leaders' ability to really, I like to say this word, but it is not a word I would use to articulate these issues. Because if they don't feel comfortable doing it, they won't talk. We've learned that. They had a family emergency, so they didn't come to that meeting because they were going to have to say something. So we're going to begin to really give them some real support and practicing how to talk about these things in ways that are understandable for them and the people that they're talking to. We've already said we need to engage the youth, and we're actively working on engaging them. And we want them to be involved even in the planning and implementation. The clarity on the downstream, midstream, and upstream, we can't take it for granted that it's understood. And we have to always be helping people understand which of these areas we're in when we start talking about ideas. And that's just what we have found over time, because what people are typically used to are more of the downstream ideas, but they're beginning to really grasp the policy advocacy effort issues that are at the upstream level. So next slide, please. Moving forward, we're going to utilize that advocacy training that we've been engaged in as our launch board for how we're going to make our footprint. What are we going to dig into and see a major change in one of these safety issues in OST in year 4. We're going to host more community meetings so that we can report out and also get feedback from people who haven't been involved with us. As I've said again, this is so important, prioritizing youth engagement, and especially in advocacy planning, teaching them early that they can speak out on behalf of their own concerns. And we're going to recruit or join with partners who align with our abilities. All of that's already been said, but that's where we're going to move in year 4. So you can move to the next slide.